So, Garima, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, sir.
So, let's start with the mock interview. So, as you know, this mock interview is to help you with the getting more clarity on the concepts of testing. Even if you don't
Yes,
know the answer of the question, it's absolutely fine. We'll get it
yes.
clear in the video itself. So,
Okay.
let me share my screen first. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, this is the first scenario where you are supposed to find the branch coverage and the program is there. So it is we are reading the values of a and b, and if we are doing addition, so it and if it is greater than 10, so it's a condition, then we are printing a plus b is large, or if a is greater than 5, then print a large. And this is how the sample program is there. So you are supposed to find the branch coverage for this particular code. You can use pen and paper if you want.
Branch coverage in the sense, sir,
Mhm.
I'm not getting this branch
Okay.
coverage.
Okay. So branch coverage is actually, the statements, the flow of the statements should be covered in
Okay.
such a way that once each statement is being covered like that. Do you want me to help
Okay.
you out?
Yes, sir, of course.
Okay. Okay. See. So first of all, let us see what is branch coverage. So in branch coverage, we are supposed to get the minimum number of paths which will ensure that all the edges are covered. Okay. The aim is to
Mm-hmm.
cover all the possible true and false decisions. Okay. Now over here, the true decision can be if a plus b is greater than 10, then this is the expected output. But what if a plus b is not greater than 10 also? So true and false conditions we have to map. So let's have a look at the the logic in the form of the flow chart. Now we had this
Okay.
statement, read A and B, and the first statement is A plus B is greater than 10. So it would go to print A plus B is large. Then if A is also greater than 5, then A is large. So one flow can be this one. You can see this 1A over here, then comes 2C. So it would go over here. So this is one of the flow. Then 3D, that is print a plus b is large, then e is also
Hmm.
taken, then 4G, that is a is also greater than 5, and last condition is 5H, a is large. So this is one of the flow from beginning to end, so it is covering the program. Okay, so
Okay.
this is one kind of a, what I would say, the coverage that you are doing. Another coverage
Okay.
over here can be 1A, that is read a and b. 2b, 2b means now if a plus b is not greater than 10, and then we are going to e. Of course this I would say this condition is being covered now. Then 4f, that means a is greater than 5, but it is I would say it is not greater than 5. What would happen then? So this part of the program, you know so
Okay. So this is the second scenario for.
second scenario, correct. So basically we can draw two scenarios in order to cover this program end to end from top to bottom. Okay. So
Okay.
basically you would be having the branch coverage. The answer is 2 for this particular program.
Okay. So the branch coverage means we are using the two scenario for this type of question.
Correct.
This type of
Right.
correct.
So it would be
Okay.
asked you in an interview, or it can be asked in an online QA assessment kind of, quiz with multiple choice
Okay.
questions. What is the branch coverage for this program? So
Okay.
you
Okay.
have to draw this way, and you can try to cover all the, as we saw, you have to cover all the minimum number of parts, which will cover that all the edges are covered.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so all the possible permutations and combinations of true false decisions. What if
Okay.
something true happens? What if something false happens? So, like that, over here we are getting two paths for this program.
Means positive and negative both.
Both, absolutely.
Both.
Okay. Shall we move ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So now I would, uh, okay. So this is a microwave oven. So as you can see. Now, can
Hmm.
you give us the high level test scenarios of microwave oven?
Uh, yes.
Mhm.
First of all, if we can do the both testing, manual or automation. If we comes to the for the manual testing, so first we will do the smoke testing.
Mhm. Just tell me
So
the
we
high level scenarios. Like, for example, let me give you one scenario is verify the microwave oven works at the maximum temperature. This is one kind of a scenario. We would be
okay,
covering manual testing only now. Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
No. So like first of all, we check that the microwave is working fine because what is like microwave is using for the to heat for heating purpose.
Correct.
So it is working or not. First of all, we check it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the this type of functionality is working fine or not.
Mm-hmm.
So that will come in a smoke testing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
And
is
after,
fine. The types of testing
yeah,
also is fine. You can just tell the high level scenarios.
okay, and then we will check that we will go through that in the right side, all the buttons over there,
Mm-hmm.
power button, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to read it properly.
No, no, this is
Temperature
just a
button.
sample diagram. Just imagine the microwave oven that is at your home or you
Okay.
have seen anywhere.
So yeah, in my home there is a power button and there
Mm-hmm.
is a so many things like the grill option and
Mm-hmm.
other options are there.
Mm-hmm.
Steamed option, baked option, other options are in a one button. So I will check one by one ki all are working fine or fine or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm selecting bake, so like how much time it is taking, like it's taking 30 minute or 40 minute, or what is the capacity like heating capability of that time, like food is cooking or not, something we will check that.
Mm-hmm.
These type of scenario also in a testing.
Correct.
And yeah, power button is working or
Mm-hmm.
not. And if it is a automatic, I mean it's a autocorrect. If like the food like suppose we select one process like bake the cake,
Mm-hmm.
and we have just started the cooking, and the time is there 30 minute. So
Mm-hmm.
after 30 minute microwave is off or still it's on, so we will check it. This is also one type of scenario.
Right. Right.
And yeah, all and these are I think
Okay.
and
So,
actually so many scenario in a microwave. I need to just set it and I can write it like yeah, so many
correct. So these kind of, high level scenario questions you might get in an interview. Now let's see
okay.
what are the possible test scenarios. Okay. Okay. So first of all, verify that the dimensions of the oven are as per the specification provided. Then we can verify that the oven's material is optimal for its use as an oven and as per the specification. Over here, you can also add one more test scenario of verify if the microwave supported, utensils are being properly, able to be used in a microwave oven. Then
Yeah.
verify that the oven heats the food at the desired temperature only and that also properly. Then we can verify that the oven heats food at the desired temperature within a specified time duration. I think you covered the time limit scenario.
Yes.
Then we can verify with the maximum attainable temperature and we can verify with the minimum attainable temperature. Then we can verify that the oven's plate rotation is speed is optimal and it is not too high to spill the food kept over it. Let's say if you have kept something like dal or curry, so it should not get spilled like that. Then verify
Yes.
the oven's door gets closed properly, oven's door opens
Yeah, that
smoothly.
is very important. Yes.
Right. Then we can verify the battery
Oh,
requirement
so
of the,
many scenarios. Yes,
yeah, so many scenarios are there, and
actually.
you have to cover all the things from A to Z, and you have to
Yes,
add this
yes.
keyword like verify, because in the
Hmm.
high level scenarios you are actually, verifying the thing. So this keyword, if you will use before the scenario, so the interviewer will, you know he will come to know, okay, this candidate is having a good knowledge of about the verification and validation. Then you can tell
Yes.
about the verify the battery requirement of the oven and check that it
Hmm.
functions smoothly at that power. Then verify the text written over the oven's body is clearly readable, digital display is clearly visible,
Yeah.
right? Then temperature regulator is smooth to operate and temperature regulator works properly. Check that maximum capacity of the oven and test its functioning with that volume of food. So this is kind of a volume testing example. Then check,
That comes to usability testing. Yeah, that is also part of.
right, right. All the scenarios you have to try to cover, whether it is usability, or user acceptance testing, or it is volume testing. Earlier you were telling about smoke testing as well. It was good.
Yeah. Hmm.
Then check oven's functionality with different kinds of foods, like you are keeping some solid food or liquid food. Then verify oven's functionality with different kinds of container material at different temperatures. Then how about the power cord? So this is a corner case scenario, whether the cable or the wire of the oven is properly long enough or not. Then verify whether you are getting some help document with the product, like the user manual or the instructions, how to clear instructions how to use this particular product. Because as such, this is microwave oven, it is, it is understandable from the person's point of view, but what if the software is new into the market? So we should have
Yes.
some help document or some kind of a user manual with clear
Oh,
instructions.
yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, now let's move to the next question. This is a multiple choice question, and
Okay.
any one of these four option is correct. So impact analysis helps us to decide. Now you have to choose one of these four options: how much regression testing should be done, or exit criteria, or how many more test cases need to be written, or different tools to perform regression testing.
How many more test cases need to written?
Are you sure?
Uh, um, just because, like, it's first option is how much regression testing should be done.
Hmm.
So, of course, regression should be also possible because what we do in regression testing, like, if something we are changing in a module and any functionality changing, so that is not that will not impact our any other functionality of that same application.
Hmm.
So, I think how many more test cases need to be written?
Hmm.
I just
Okay. So you are very, very close to the answer. The correct answer is actually how much regression testing should be done. The C option
okay,
was introduced over here to confuse you. When you were telling
okay,
that how much regression testing should be done means you were mentioning the definition, that is absolutely perfect. So you are doing impact analysis to know more about the product, right? In
okay.
that direction. And when you are coming to this point, how much regression testing should be done more, so you are ultimately adding test cases. So test cases are already written into the, test management tool. Now you have to see in which module or in which particular business scenario or which business use case you have to go with the regression testing.
Yeah, but yes, yes, yeah, you are absolutely correct. But if I want to change something in a test cases, then in that case of, I was thinking like impact
Mhm.
analysis help to decide.
Okay, so you mean to say updation of test cases?
Yes, updation of test case. And
Yeah,
like,
so test cases updated.
while doing the agile method or matlab, agile
Yeah, yeah, please.
methodology, then we can do that. That's what I was thinking.
Correct. So see, test cases updation is day-to-day activities of a normal tester who is doing a job in testing. Test cases
Yeah.
need to be updated every day. But when
Yes,
you
yes,
will
yes.
sit with the business users or when you will sit with the customers, and then if you will have a word with them, and then you come up with a team, and then again you say, what is the impact analysis means, what are the various ways the customer has thought to use this product, so how you can, your testing can get impacted, how your testing
Hmm.
can make a difference. So over there, regression testing would be important.
Okay.
Still, this is a discussion point of view. So if you are not still convinced, so we can discuss more as well.
No, sir. No, I got it, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now peer reviews are also called as inspection, walkthrough, technical review, or formal review.
So very confusing.
Yeah.
It can be A or it can be D also.
A or D. Mm-hmm.
I think because the peer reviews, like we are giving to our colleagues to review the test
Mm-hmm.
cases.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be inspection. No, I
No,
don't
no, it
think
cannot
so.
be inspection.
It cannot be.
Mm.
I
Okay.
will go through this formal review
Formal review. Okay.
or technical review.
Right. Right. So technical
Technical
review.
review.
Yeah,
Technical
technical
review.
review is the right answer actually, right? Because many a times you would have seen into the organizations, this happens with the coding as well. Whenever, one programmer has done the coding, now he
Yes.
wants to take the help or he wants to get it reviewed by some other person.
Hmm.
So they will get some card of technical review and they will attach to their laptop so that he can come to know that following code has been, he has been marked as a reviewer in the Git.
Yeah, sometimes I have done it. Like I got some issue in our application, and I go to my teammate and my colleague, and then I asked to give what is this issue? This is correct or not? What I am thinking about it.
Hmm. Right.
So I think it's a technical review.
Yeah, so we
Correct.
will, so generally, peer reviews can be in the form of coding as well, or in the form of, as you were mentioning, it can be form of a bugs as well. When we are
Yeah,
discussing
of
the
course.
defects or the issues that we are getting into the product.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Now there is a field in a form which contains a text box and it accepts alphabets in lower or uppercase. So this is a requirement that you have got from your test manager. Now you are writing all the equivalence classes for this testing this requirement. Now, can you identify one of the invalid equivalence class value from the below options?
D.
D. Yeah, correct. It's the right answer. Because in the requirement they didn't mention anything
Yeah,
about
as per the
numeric.
requirement, there is a no mention any other numbers and all.
Correct.
Only the
Absolutely.
alphabets is there.
Yes. Okay. Now let's say there is an application that is released, not released, that needs to be released, and you are a part of the testing team, and the
Okay.
functionality is uh, viewing of a video on a YouTube channel. So what can be the
Okay.
possible test scenarios? What all things you will test? Again, this is just a sample image. You can think from all the point of.
Yes, I got it. So first of all, I will open that video on YouTube.
Mhm.
So we can open this video on a different browser also.
Okay, so verify the video is getting opened in different browsers. Okay.
Yeah, to
Mm.
verify. Yeah, correct. And yeah, also I will check that the option is over there, na, HD and something K.
Mhm.
In the right side, it's
Right
we
side
have an
means full
option
screen.
like that. We can, yeah, full screen and something.
Mhm.
No, not full screen. That is a different option.
Mhm.
Uh, there is an option, right? We can increase the quality of video.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right,
Yeah,
the
so
quality of the video.
also
Correct, correct. Mm-hmm,
that also we can check that ki the quality of video is like what, if we
mm-hmm,
are zooming that video, so there is any breakage, breaks in a video, like we can check the quality of video also.
mm-hmm,
And I think this is one type of scenario.
mm-hmm,
And of course, the the video quality,
mm-hmm.
yeah, the lighting, what is the lighting used in that video? I mean, it's so vibrant or something like that. Maybe sometimes it's so a vibrant type of video, and sometimes it's a dull type of video. The color is using in that video, so that is also one type of scenario.
Okay.
And if we play the video, then the speed of that video we will check that.
Mm-hmm,
uh, like the normal video we see it that it's playing in a proper time, like not very fast, not very slow,
mm-hmm.
so we will check it also. So I think
So
this
you
is
mean to
one
say
type of
verify if you are clicking on the uh,
video.
next
So
video or something like that?
no, my I mean to say, like the speed of that video, like one picture, like motion of that video, like
Oh,
one picture is moving very fast. I
mm-hmm,
mean to say that
mm-hmm.
that is one type of scenario.
Okay, okay.
And the volume, like it's audible or not,
Mm-hmm,
the volume of that video, like this is also one type of scenario.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, I can write one more also, but
Mhm. So currently, you are able to think from all this scenario point of view.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Now let's see at the answers. Okay. So first of all, verify that the video page can be opened by a direct link to a video. Let's say if someone gave you a link in a WhatsApp or someone mentioned the link in the Facebook, then it should get opened. Verify
Yes.
that clicking the video play icon over the video should play. You mentioned this. The play, pause, volume, mute, these all things controls should work
Yes, yes,
properly.
yes.
Then verify user can select the allowed video quality. Quality also you mentioned. Then verify that once the video is complete, user can replay the video using replay icon. Verify video should be searchable by name, displaying the most relevant video on the top in search results. So this is kind of a search based scenario that you are searching some particular video and then you are getting it. Then verify that other attributes of video like artist name, description should also be searchable.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then auto suggestion search should work and it should be enabled. Then verify that the whatever the search results are coming, that should include the video length or how many views have been got to that YouTube video, what is the
That the like and the subscribe and all.
subscribe and
Correct.
all, right? Then verify that clicking the video thumbnails in the search results should lead to the video page. Okay, it should not happen like you are clicking on that video and then it is giving you some 500 internal server error. Then
Mm-hmm.
verify video filtering and sorting option should work, like view count, like upload date, and you can sort as per the latest video uploaded by yesterday or by today, something like that. Then comments, like and dislikes, all those things should be visible. Then verify that with each view the view count increases by one. Let's say now you are viewing it. Earlier the video count was 999 views it was having. Now after you watched it, then again you watch it, so it should get increment by one. So 1000 views should be there. Then verify user can like or dislike a video and the corresponding count should increase by one. So verify user can comment. Verify the user should be presented with related videos in the sidebar section. So the sidebar section that is coming up at the right side whenever you are watching some videos. Then verify related videos are related to the current video or it is based on the past viewing history of user. Let's say you are watching
Use.
some videos on some software testing topics. So again, you will get all those relevant videos on software testing only as per the YouTube algorithm. Then verify clicking related video thumbnail should open that video. I think we covered this earlier. And verify every video viewed goes to history for logged in user. Verify user can view or delete history items. Verify if some age restriction is there, then user is asked to log into the YouTube account.
Yes, of course.
Right. So we are done with the scenario based testing questions. Let me stop the share. Now, okay. So what is the difference between verification and validation?
Yes, verification, like whatever we are collecting the requirements from the customer,
Mhm,
and so we will verify all the requirements, also the high level design
mhm,
verification, the low level design verification. So all the things that will be related to the our customer requirements.
mhm,
So that is the verification. And though if we comes to the validation point, what are the test cases we are going to run it, or it's going to execute it. So that is called as validation.
okay, right. So basically, verification is the process of
So
evaluate,
yeah,
right?
yes, it's a process, and that is
Product. So
yeah,
verification is process oriented, validation is product
is
oriented.
a product oriented. Yeah, that is a that is a process oriented. That is product oriented. That is documented. That is no
That is not doc,
detailed document, not documented. That is a doing. I mean, what we are doing it. That is validation.
right? So again, like we are answering the question, are we building the right product? That is verification. And are we building
Yes,
the,
correct.
sorry, are we building the product right? It is verification. And are we building the right product is a validation,
Validation, correct,
right?
sir. I forward this
Okay.
point. This is a very main point for
Very
this
important point.
verification and
Okay.
validation. Yeah, correct.
Right. Then verification is the process, and it is the process of evaluating the artifacts as well as the process of software development in order to
Oh,
ensure the product is being developed in the right direction or it will comply with the standards. While
yes.
validation is the process of validating the developed software product confirms the business requirements. It is developed as per the requirements that we have got from the customer client. So that is the main difference between verification and validation.
Validation.
Okay. So when should we stop testing? Let's say you have got some project and the test
Yes.
manager asks you like Garima, when should we stop testing? So what all things that are coming to your mind that should be a kind of a checklist or kind of a list that you will tell that so and so things should be, confirmed, should be working, then only I would stop testing.
When we have covered almost a high priority and high severity type of bugs in, like we have done all type of testing,
Hmm,
then we should stop the testing. And like that there is a timeline, like I mean the release date is coming, like that is very close to,
hmm.
then we should stop the testing. And
Are you
sometimes
sure when
testing
the
does
release
a
date? Are you sure when the
yeah,
release date is coming very close, then you should stop the testing? Because release date,
i'm I mean like no like suppose like tomorrow I need to go to that release that software, then we should stop, like we should be satisfied that no, all the testing has been done, we have
yeah,
covered all the point. Yeah, that's what I was telling.
yeah, that satisfaction, that sound that should come from
Yeah,
all the team
that
members. That confidence
Yes,
level
yes,
should be
that
there.
yeah, confidence level should become, and if that budget is also testing budget is also crossed, like then we should stop the testing.
Okay.
I think this should be one more point,
Mm-hmm.
and it's up to the management team. If they want to stop it, then they can because they are the higher level
Mm-hmm.
of team. They can do that.
Okay.
So
So
it's
one point over here I would like to add. See, even if it's a decision to be taken by the stakeholders or management team, but as a tester, as a part of the testing team, it is our responsibility to raise a red flag. Even if the release date is closer, it is your, responsibility to raise a red flag if you see some of the critical or blocker defects still being not resolved into the company, into the
okay.
software. Okay, so as
Mm-hmm.
a tester, it is not necessary to always have a sugar coated point of view. Let's say they tell that okay, we have to release software on 19th of February, so we are releasing it not for the sake of just releasing. We are actually releasing
Okay.
based on the confidence level and based on the testing reports that we have got. Now let's see what are the different conditions when we should release, when we should stop the testing. First of all is
Mm-hmm.
after test case execution. So let's say when one complete cycle of all the test cases are being executed, and we know that any
Mm-hmm.
uh, let like all the bug fixes have been done, and then the entire test cases cycle has been executed. It should not happen that you have executed the test cycle and you have got the 5 bugs and then you are testing only those 5 bugs. So once the end to
Yes.
end entire
Mm-hmm.
level of testing is done, so that is one point after test case execution. Another is once
Okay.
the testing, all the defects like critical major blocker are being resolved, are being fixed,
Mm-hmm.
and there are no high
Yeah.
priority issues left in your test management tool like Jira you are tracking, or you are tracking on the base of Bugzilla. So you have to sort all the defects and you have to make sure that there are no greater than or equal to major critical blocker. All these defects are being fixed.
Yeah.
Another is based on the code coverage value. You can also stop the testing. That is the when the automated code coverage reaches a specific threshold value. That is, let's
Code
say,
coverage, sir, sorry to interrupt you,
I
sir.
no problem.
Code coverage comes to that is the development part. I guess developer will do that
Mhm. So there are
code
two kinds
coverage.
of code coverage that are
This is
being
a type
defined.
of unit testing, correct?
Yeah. So code coverage, that is unit test case coverage, that developers will take the
Yes.
ownership. You have to take the ownership
Yes.
of automated test case coverage. Okay. Now if you see that all the test cases have been so far automated, then there are few of the test
Mm-hmm.
cases which are not eligible for automation. You can leave them. Let's say for an example, you have 100 test cases. Out of that, 80 test cases are eligible for automation. 20 are some 20 test cases are such that they cannot be automated. It is not possible to automate them. So at least 80 you have automated, so that you have to make sure that whenever that automation suite runs, the test result you will get. So on the basis of that, you are confident, okay, that I'm okay to give green flag to this release. Okay.
Okay.
Another thing is the very important feature, the very important thing is MTBF. What is MTBF? That is mean time between failure. So this is the
Okay.
time interval between two failures. Now, based on the stakeholders' decision, if the mean time between failure is quite a large one, that is, you are getting the failure, but it is like the duration of 1 year or 1.5 year, then you can uh, stop the testing. Again, you have to collaborate with the management team, with the stakeholders, and you have to bring the all the team at the same page, and then only you have to take this decision. You have to go for this call of stopping the testing. But you don't have to stop the testing at the pressure of the management. Okay, you have to release the software, we have to go live on this particular date, so that cannot push the things like that. Okay, so this is somewhere you as a tester you have to take the responsibility and you have to make a stand. You have to go for a stand. Okay, this cannot be done or this can be done, like,
Yeah, that is the quality of tester.
yeah, that is. And you would be tested on that. You'll get some scenarios, you'll get such situations in your career as well. Maybe I don't know when, but you will face some these kind of things.
Yes.
Okay. So, can you give us an example of low priority, low severity?
If there is any app, WhatsApp,
Mm-hmm.
and any like Flipkart, if we talk about, there is a some products are there, the shampoo, and there are so many products. So if there is any spelling mistake over there in the shampoo, like the SHAMP something, so there is one single O, not a double O. So this is the low priority and low severity.
Mm-hmm. But it is the name of the product, right?
Yeah.
Let's say it's a product is Head and Shoulders shampoo. So shampoo is actually, the product that a user is buying. So they will be off, they'll be very often looking at that
So
mistake.
okay, so any other thing like we are clicking that particular product, and there will come so many options. Like if you are going to add this product to the cart, or something you are going to wish list. So there is some mistake in the wish list or add to cart or something. So that will come to under low priority and low severity.
I know.
Oh,
See,
and no.
actually, low priority and low severity, you are taking a right example. It's a kind of a spelling mistake or, distortion in UI. But it should not happen at those places which are often being visited by the users. Add to cart is one of the major functionality that would be used by the any user
Yeah,
in
of course,
e-commerce
that is a.
website, right?
Hmm.
So over here, what you can take an example of, let's say some spelling mistake is there, but it is there on some page. Let's say if the website has got 30 pages and the
Okay.
top 10 pages of that website are being frequently used by the customer. Now let's say this spelling mistake is there on the 29th page at the very last page, but that is hardly any user would go on that page. So that is low priority, low severity. Even if you don't
Low
fix
zero.
that defect, it is absolutely fine. Okay. Now, can you give the example of low priority, high severity?
Yeah, in the same application, like there come so many options like about Flipkart, privacy,
Mm-hmm.
and the career something and all. Not career, I guess. Contact
Contact us.
us.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
these are the options. So mostly users don't open these thing privacy and about Flipkart. They don't open it. So I think these options will be suitable for high priority and high
Low
severity
priority,
and low
high
priority.
severity,
Yeah.
right? Let's say if you click on some contact us or some kind of link and the
Yeah.
application is crashing over there.
Yes.
Contact us is a very frequently used link. I would say,
Yeah, I think context is a very frequently using. I
mhm,
think privacy is the we don't open that privacy
right,
option.
right. So
So
privacy
I
link
think
is the right example for this
high
condition of
severity and the low
low
priority.
priority. Now let us change this words, vice versa. High priority and low severity.
Okay,
Yeah.
high priority and the low severity.
Mhm.
Like the main name of Flipkart,
Correct. Mhm.
FLIP if we
Mhm.
if we use the FLICART, so
Mhm.
I think it's a
Right.
high
And
priority and the low
low severity.
severity.
The logo, the business logo is
Yeah,
getting
the
replaced,
logo of the that application, the logo of WhatsApp, the spelling of WhatsApp, any application.
or the branding name is getting affected.
Yeah, of course.
That is high
So
priority, low severity.
high priority and the low severity.
Now, high priority, high severity.
The application is for basically for any purchase any product. So like we are going to that if we are selecting one product in same application, and we are going to buy it.
Mm.
So if add to cart is not working properly,
Mhm.
so I think this option is best for high priority and high severity.
Correct. Absolutely right.
because the main function of that application is not working properly. So I think this is the
Correct. Okay. So what are the different types of integration testing?
there are two type of integration testing. First is incremental integration testing, and the second is non-incremental integration testing.
Mm-hmm.
In incremental testing, uh, we add the module one by one,
Mm-hmm.
like continuously we are adding the module in a system, in application,
Mm-hmm.
and that should be like top down or bottom up. But in a non-incremental incremental integration model, uh, uh, what we will do that we will add module in a one shot. Like we will collect so many modules and we will add in a one shot, single shot in the system, in application. That is non-incremental. That is also big bang method.
Right. That is Big Bang integration testing. So there are
So
different types
integration
of testing.
testing, yeah.
Yeah. So four
Hmm.
different types of testing are there. One is Big Bang integration testing. One is top to down integration testing. Then one is bottom up integration testing. And there is one more,
Yes,
that is
and there's a
hybrid.
sandwich.
Yeah. Sandwich or hybrid integration testing.
Sandwich or hybrid.
That is
Yeah,
combination of.
I think this bottom up or top down and sandwich is the type of incremental integration testing.
Right. So what we
And
would do is we will ask the users who are watching this video over here, or when we are uploading this video, that they'll give us the different types of integration testing, the incremental and the non-incremental, and they also have to arrange this all these testing types like Big Bang integration testing, top to down integration testing, bottom up integration testing, and hybrid integration testing as per the incremental and non-incremental type of testing. Okay.
okay,
So they'll be putting the comments. So I'll request all the users, all the viewers who are actually watching this video to put the different types of incremental and non-incremental type of integration testing in the comments box of this video. Okay. So we'll get the community should also get some knowledge from that. Okay. Let's move to the next question then. What is
yes.
negative testing?
Negative testing, like something we are doing uh, in a wrong way, not wrong way. I mean, suppose there is a application, there is a bank application, ICI net banking,
Mm-hmm,
and we are going to put username and password,
mm-hmm,
and the correct is already given. That is a positive testing, like the correct username, valid username ID, and the valid password. But whether if we are using the invalid user ID and the invalid password, so that comes under a negative testing.
okay. Right. So basically by
So
negative
we
testing,
are, yeah,
yeah, please go ahead.
yeah. So basically, we are giving the wrong, invalid data to the application.
Mhm,
On that, on that scenario, we will check that like how application is working. Still, it's opening or something. So
mm,
that,
right. So basically, we are checking the behavior of the application whenever how much robustness is there in the application, whether it is gracefully handling the exceptions or it is giving some error message properly or not in case of invalid test data as well. Okay. So what is the difference between bug leakage and bug release?
bug release is something we are releasing that software with knowing of some bug.
With none
And
of some bugs. That is bug
yeah,
leakage.
yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah, of course.
Mhm. I
Bug
think that is
release.
bug release actually. That you are.
Yeah, no, no, I'm telling you that is a bug release.
Hmm,
Talking about the bug release.
hmm,
We are like, suppose we are releasing that one software to the our customer with knowing some bug. Yeah, there is still some bug that is not impacting our application.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
So that is a bug release. And the second one is a bug
Leakage,
leakage.
bug leakage. Yes.
Yeah, and if suppose application is released already to the customer, released to the customer, and the end user is getting any error in the application,
Mhm.
that is called bug leakage. So that is a fault of that application, that is an
Mhm.
error of that application.
Right. So the market and the software is released into the market, and the end user finds a defect in it,
Yes, so
finds the bug
basically
in it.
that customer will find that error.
So those were actually missed by the testing team who were actually doing testing on that. So that is bug leakage. And bug
Yeah.
release, you mentioned it rightly. The specific version of the software is released in the market with some known
With the
bugs,
knowing bug, with the known bug. Yeah.
right? But those are of less priority. So
Yes.
that is mentioned in the release notes. So that
Yeah,
is,
that the release note already
so that is
time during the acceptance testing.
acceptance testing. So that is bug release actually.
Yes.
Okay. So what is test harness, and why do we need test harness?
Test harness is a it's a like collection of drivers, stubs, and
Perfect.
other supporting tools
Mm-hmm.
that basically use or to automate the test cases,
Mm-hmm.
and also provide like using of test libraries, using the test libraries, they automate the test cases, and also provide some document of it.
Right.
So this is the test harness.
This is test harness. So it is basically a collection of test scripts and test data that is usually associated with the unit and integration testing. And you mentioned it right. It is involving all the stubs and drivers that are required for testing software modules and integrated components. Okay. So what is defect cascading?
Defect cascading, like it's a, we can say that like we are adding one defect to the application, and that will trigger
Mm.
all interlinked defect, like we can say that it's a main defect that will trigger all the defects, that will reopen all the defects. uh, this is the defect cascading, I
Right. It
guess.
it is like a triggering of a defect by another defect.
uh,
So it
Another
is
defect, yeah,
the
correct,
defect
yes.
is not getting caught by the testing team and it is giving rise to multiple other defects. So that is called defect cascade.
Yes,
Okay.
defect cascade.
Now, let's say you are given some project to test, but
Hmm.
the requirements and the FRDs or BRDs are not there. So you have to test a project without any requirements. So how will you start?
So first of all, we will see that what is the application, like what we have to, what type of application and what we have to work on it.
Mm,
So like we will check that if there is any reference of that application. Earlier we have done it, so we will match with that reference
mhm.
also, and then we will check that how to test, like we will prepare the test scenarios for particular application, then we will do the test cases, like how to test.
Okay. You can also have a word with the end users, with the customers, or with the business analyst
Yeah,
in your
of
team,
course, yeah, of course, yes,
and
yes,
you
yes,
might get some more information about the product, how it is going to be used at their end, right? So
yes,
this would help you to know the functional behavior or the functional use of the system and its usability. Okay.
yes.
Now, how often do you learn about the new things that is coming into the testing, like new testing technologies or testing tools? How do you keep yourself updated?
Something
Mhm.
like if something comes to our organization, then basically we do the YouTube.
Okay.
and
So
like
you are
we get on YouTube, yeah,
right. So
on
that is
on Google
work
or
related.
something.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
work
Now let's
related.
say it's not a part of your work, but
Yes,
something new has come up into the market. And see,
yes,
testing is actually your bread and butter. You are actually going
yes,
to, you are dedicating your life, your entire life to this career. So you should keep
yes.
yourself updated. So how
Yeah, of course.
So this question might come up in an interview. So you can tell that I'm having, I'm active on LinkedIn or any such community forums are there, or I'm
Okay.
reading such QA blogs so that I'm keeping myself updated. Okay. Now this is one part of the question. Next question is, tell us the recent latest thing that you have read on this YouTube or social media, the latest thing that would have happened into the testing or QA community. What is that? The last thing that you have read about the software testing, apart from the roles and responsibilities that are there in your organization. No? So see, this is the another
I
part of the
actually
question.
I haven't. Actually, I haven't. So that's why I
Mhm.
wasn't able to
Right.
tell you.
So every day, spend some 15 to 20 minutes,
Yeah, but I will work on it. Definitely, I will work on it.
and this would, add a different kind of an impression on the in your interview. If
Yes.
you are in line with what is happening in day to day and latest news about your tools and technologies or software testing is there, or someone might would have rolled out some kind of a tool that is very much helpful to the testing community. So these all
Hmm.
points you should stay yourself, keep yourself updated.
Yeah, keep myself updated. Yeah.
Okay, Garima, so it was nice talking to you, and I'm done with the interview. Okay, so
Okay.
do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. Yes, of course, sir. Can you rate me like where I'm lagging or where I
Mhm.
need to work on it,
Sure.
and where I'm good, where like on which part I am good,
Mhm.
not so good. Like of course I will have to work on it,
Mhm.
but on which point where I need to more focus on it. I
Okay.
just want to.
So see, the manual testing concepts, the basics like integration testing is there, severity, priority, all those things are good from your aspect. You are having a good knowledge, you are having clarity on all these things. Another thing where you have to put effort is thinking about the high level scenarios on the fly. On the fly
Okay.
means whenever you get a requirement in an interview, let's say they are asking you the question of tell us the test scenarios for some XYZ thing, or some pen is there, clock is there, for some software, e-commerce website is there. Over there, you should be very much fast in giving the scenarios. You should take hardly 1 or 2 minutes to complete the answer, and you should try to
Okay.
cover all the things. You think it from a positive point of view, you think it from a negative testing point of view. What about the performance testing, what about the stress testing, how you will volume test it? So these are all the things that you are expected to do it on a fly whenever they ask some questions in an interview on the scenario. These are all the scenario based questions, and you will get them.
Okay.
You just search it on the Google, you will get them. What are the different
Okay.
test scenarios on different objects that are being asked? Now, how can
Okay.
you develop this habit? So, one habit of testing is to get in, to become a good tester is to analyze the things every now and then. Let's say if you are into your home, you are seeing something. There is table is there, glass is there, light is there, bulb is there. So you start analyzing it. How you will break the application? What are the points that you will test them? So slowly and gradually we'll get into the habit of developing the scenarios on the fly at the time of interview. So this is very important because at the time of interview, some sort of nervousness is always there. So if this preparation is done in advance, so your interviewer will be he will be happy to see that within 1 minute or 2 minutes she's able to discover so much of scenarios. Okay,
Okay.
another thing is read about the latest tools and technologies that is happening into the software testing. See,
Okay.
this is your bread and butter. This is how you will be making money in your life. So you
Of
have
course.
to respect it. That's what I would say. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that's it. Apart from that, rest all things looks good. You are confident, and at times you are getting nervous, but don't feel nervous. Be confident, and I'm sure that if you will invest more time in reading all these things, then your nervousness will go. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So
And sir, for any other topics like the Java and
mm,
the SQL,
right. So
so
we can
that
schedule a
interview,
different mock interview for those
yes,
topics.
yeah, yeah.
So today's
Okay.
interview was more emphasis was given on
More
print.
about manual testing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once you are
Okay,
prepared,
sir.
let me know, and you have the email address. So we will
Yeah, of
you
course.
can email me or you can message me as well. So we can schedule our interview accordingly. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, sir.